Discover the wonderful world of Melbourne Musos exhibition and drum sales and permanent drum show. It is undoubtedly the longest drum show in the Southern Hemisphere. A whole world of drums on this 15-acre site, just waiting to be explored. For example, big drum kits, cane drum kits, shitty drum kits, red drum kits, and bouncy drum kits. Ooh, leather drum kits. Ooh, so much to choose from and all under the one roof. Melbourne Musos offer 6 months interest-free terms and a free beer anywhere in Victoria, New South Wales and South Australia. Plus a 5-year written guarantee. No reasonable door-take gig refused. Come and try us. We won't be beaten on price and admission is free. So come and take a stroll through Melbourne Musos Face Chook Live at 6 o'clock tonight. And don't forget to say hello to Dave and Mabel. And as an added bonus, we guarantee we'll be pumping this shit background fusion music all afternoon for your pleasure. So come and visit Melbourne Musos Face Chook Live tonight at 6 o'clock.
Travel back through time and space to Melbourne Musos Face Chook Live. To the edge of man's beginnings, discover a savage world whose only law was lust. 2019 BC. Travel back through time and space to Melbourne Musos Face Chook Live. To the edge of man's beginnings, discover a savage world whose only law was lust. 2019 BC.
2019 BC.
Travel back through time and space to Melbourne Musos Face Chook Live. To the edge of man's beginning, discover a savage world whose only law was lust. 2019 BC. Travel back through time and space to Melbourne Musos Face Chook Live. To the edge of man's beginning, discover a savage world whose only law was lust. 2019 BC.
Oh! Oh! Hello everyone and welcome to 2019 BC, before COVID. Hey! My name's Quinlan. Welcome to Melbourne Musos Face Chook Live on this typical Friday. Cold. Let me cheer you up. There we go. I'll get into it tonight. I hope everyone's okay. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Emergency meetings on Monday. We might have to put the sticker on our liquor back on. Hey! See what goes on with that. That's alright, I don't mind. Had my 4th jab yesterday. Ouch. And that's alright as well. You gotta find an angle, said Danny Kaye. And once upon a time, White Christmas. Gotta have an angle. There you go. So what I'm going to do tonight is talk about angles. I'm going to talk about vertical and horizontal coordination. I'm going to talk about pivot points. I'm going to talk about the science of the tap. And I think it's that one.
Man's got to know his limitations. Man's got to know his limitations. Man's got to know his limitations.
A man's guts to know his limitations. What happens if you've only got one drum? Instead of big-ass Doris here. I do love her dearly. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the lovely ladies here out. I'm going to do a little bit of technical jargon and try and cheer you all up. And with a couple of lame jokes. And I'm going to talk about various things. Now, some of the things, of course, at some point I'm going to repeat myself, but what happens is I try and get another angle. You got to have an angle, you see, angles. (2019 BC). No one likes that joke. It's too sad. But what I'm going to do is talk about how to get around the drums a little bit. I'm going to talk about pivot points. I'm going to get a little technical, and I hope that's okay. Here we go. When you're dealing with getting around the drums, a great little thing to do is angles. I really the first person I've gone, I know, I've worked out what he's doing. I still do, love Billy Cobham. And one of the things when I used to listen to the early albums and all I had was the vinyl, and off they went, I'd hear all these drums flying away. And then when I finally got to see some footage, I've gone, triangle, A, the old triangle, jingle jangle, canal. That one is for Anton Kennedy, who I had a few beers with last Sunday and just started singing these Irish, beautiful Irish songs at the Dan O'Connell reunion. Thank you, Mel Robertson, if you're watching, for putting it on. Fantastic stuff. Hope we can do it again very, very soon. Who said that? Oh, it's Benny Hill. That's right. So what happens? Angles. So what happens is Billy Cobham, I used to, get in. I'm going, So what you've got is, I work off 4. You can have 5. You can have 5 one. I'll do 4. First of all, you have a star. 1 drum. So I'm talking about Benny Hill. And then you can have a line. A line has 2 points, you see. Okay? There and there. There you go. So you could go... There's the star, there's the line. Then you can have a triangle. 3 points there. And of course you can have a square. There you go. And so what starts to happen is you start to get some fairly intricate little things. Even with the, I've got the 3 up, 2 down here on Doris, and that's a whole other entity there. That's the melodic side of things, right? Party trick. And what happens is what we have is different ways of getting around. And if you're feeling a bit stuck or whatever it is, you can say, I'm going to do the triangle here. I'll see what I can do. And it's very much coordination, you see. Now, when we're dealing with angles, and when you're dealing with just technique, when you start doing your paramadoodles, everything else that goes with it, you can think of that as vertical coordination because you're going up and down. But when you're actually working around the drums, you're dealing with horizontal coordination. Okay. And so on it goes. And so what starts to happen is that you can start to mess about with your angles, you see. And what starts to go on is you might have line there. Square with the right hand. You can do it here if you only got a 5-piece kit. Single stroke, roll. And then put the ladies back in and make stuff up. So you can have a few blokes in there too. There's the ladies. That's a line with the left hand And then what I did then was really kept my left hand on the snare drum there while I was doing almost like a horseshoe with the right hand there. So on it goes. So what starts to happen is you've got these angles. I'll be returning to these, but I'm going to go on to the next point now. A thing called pivot points. What a pivot point is, I was explaining this to one of my students just the other day. Do you know what a pivot is in fishing? You get a pivot. The first time I heard the word pivot, I was about knee-high to a grasshopper. And what would happen was Dad used to take me, dear old Dad, let's go fishing, son. And we get all the kit, you know, the sort of thing. And he said, here's a pivot. And what a pivot is you have your fishing line, and there's that, and that's where the sinker goes, and that's where the hook with the bait goes, and you throw it. And I didn't catch a bloody thing except cold. But a pivot between two drums is the point where you place your wrist, you see. So what happens is if you're doing the Hail Caesar, Hail Caesar, you're moving your whole arm there, that kind of thing. But when you're actually wanting to play fairly, you know, a bit quicker, you have a pivot point. Now, a great way to get a pivot point is to take your sticks and place the tips on your contact point where you're going to hit the drums. And then put the heel of the stick, or in this case the mallets, because these are multi-sticks, and that's where you put your wrist. And so if I'm going to do, say, paradiddle diddle, right, left, oh, right, left, right, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, left. The science of the tap. A little bit of a, you know, you're just flicking, a little downstroke there. Then throw it across with your pivot. See how it goes? There's a pivot point there. One of the things is when you're hearing certain things like there's your pivot point, pivot. And then, you know, you're a bit like the old Meccano set is the old arm. You've got your fingers for finger control. You've got wrist for wrist control. Go down to your elbow, up to your shoulder, and the whole thing comes together to get your pivots round the drum kit. See? Jurassic Park.
Travel back through time and space to Melbourne Musos, space shook live. To the edge of man's beginning, discover a savage world whose only law was lust. 2019 BC. Travel back through time and space to Melbourne Musos, space shook live. To the edge of man's beginning, discover a savage world whose only law was lust. 2019 BC.
2019 BC. Hey, thank you very much, umpire. Okay, there you go. Got to be carried away there. So that's what goes on. Now, when you're dealing with things like this, what starts to happen is a little bit of the science of the tap. Okay, so what happens is that when you're playing, that's one of the things that I see sometimes with tom-tom, seeing that's a bit of the subject tonight. It's a bit of continuity because I did the other day with the whoop, 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 whoop. Didn't hurt me. There you go. And what happens is that with this, what you can do is with your toms, bit of science here, bit of science. What happens is when you're playing your snare drum, there's a general thing like if you're going to, if you're setting up a drum kit, you sort of, when you put the snare drum level, it's almost, oh yeah, well with mine it is, but level with your belt buckle. And then, of course, don't have your knees over the top. Your rim shot CD is not going to be existent. So what goes on is you keep your knees under the snare drum. And then what happens is when you're playing, what you can do is there's kind of a finger's distance from the stick and the rim generally. And then what you want to do is when you're setting up your tom-toms, what I try to do is have it so when I play the tom-toms, the hand, the wrist, the fingers are relative to the snare drum. So therefore, what goes on is that your elbow and your shoulder are taking your wrist and your fingers. They're working as a team. They are all connected after all. I hope. Anyway, so what happens is that what goes on is that as you get a little bit higher, you will have a little bit more of a tilt, but not a crazy, silly tilt. But the funny thing about it is when I play the piccolos, like... E mixolydian, by the way. The higher up I go, the more of a tilt there is. You see, so it's sort of like a bit of a concave. So if I had... Who remembers Bill Bruford from Yes when they did the Onion tour? I don't know if you know about that. I did that with the Dear Alan White tribute about a month ago. Yes's Union album. And Rick Wakeman was famous for saying, I call that album Onion because every time I listen to it, it makes me cry. Apparently it didn't go according to plan. I think the producers got their fingers into it a little bit and said, no, we want it like this and that. And, you're talking about a reunion of the whole Yes. All the members of Yes were sort of involved with it. But when they went out on tour, Alan White had the drums and Bill Bruford had all the electronic stuff going. And it was like a wall of pads going up. So he was there playing like straight up. So the pads were like that. But as they came down, there's a bit of a concave. Because if they're still flat down there, what are you going to do like that? That's a bit stupid. So what started happening, he had kind of like a concave. That sort of business there. And that's Tom theory. So when what starts to happen when I do things like that, when I'm playing the tom, it becomes kind of like a smooth approach because I don't have to adjust anything. It's just like stirring the pot. Now, then we can get into...
Man's got to know his limitations. 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 Man's got to know his limitations.
Make my day.
Man's got to know his limitations.
Man's
got to know his limitations.
I pushed the button a bit too soon. Story of my life. Man's got to know his limitations. So, how would it be if I left my left hand on the snare drum and did a square? Alright, my right hand. Now this goes to what I was talking about. About whoop 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 whoop. Didn't hurt me. The other week with Kate Bush, Budgie from Susie and the Banshees, and Rob Hurst from The Oils Make the Oils. Pivot points. Yeah. Could you tell that my left hand stayed? Okay, and stayed on the snare, and my right hand did a little bit of a, you know, spin around Doris there. And what goes on is
man's got to know his limitations.
That's it. The limitation was the left hand staying in one place. And what starts to happen with that is you can start doing other things. Of course you can do other things. Oh, what can I do? Now, there was a reason I was a bit like a duet for one. Mallet on the right side for the bass, tonal center. Bitey wood tip. Like a nice peppy rim shot. Master of Puppets have got the thing on, got the Guernsey on Stranger Things now. Kate Bush was the first now. Pivot point. So what starts to happen with this? When you're doing rolls around the drum kit, what starts happening is they're double stroke rolls. For every action, there's a reaction. When I'm doing that little lick, diagonals, if you like, wax on, wax off. What goes on to play it? When I teach it, there's often this. How the hell? What's going on? What you do, there's your action. The reaction is twist out, give your left hand a bit of space. Now, this goes to even football training, you know, shepherding, you know, give your forward space to run up and get the mark, you know, back in the day, Pagan's paddock. So you could do, well, I'm going to do it again.
Man's got to know his limitations.
So if I do this, that's all I'm going to do. I feel like putting it in.
Man's got to know his limitations. Man's got to know his limitations. Man's got to know his limitations. Man's got to know his limitations.
2019.
Man's got to know his limitations. Man's got to know his limitations. Man's got to know his limitations.
Erupt from the screen with volcanic excitement.
Man's got to know his limitations.
2019 BC. When the earth parted.
So do you see I was
And the
doing a
mountains
limitation? By doing that. And then
Primitive man
double.
and monstrous beasts fought each other to inherit the earth.
there you go. So that's that. I've pretty much covered everything very quickly. There we go. I should think about wrapping the show up. I hope you enjoyed a little bit about this. Oh!
Travel back through time and space to Melbourne Musos. Facebook Live. To the edge of man's beginning. Discover a savage world whose only law was
last.
2019 BC.
2019 BC. Ooh! All right. So what we've got... Hello, boys. There you go. And get your free beer tonight, mate. Ooh! There you go. So what happens... What did I go through tonight? Hope you enjoyed it. Angle around the drums. Got a one drum. A line. Triangle. You join them together. Ooh, that's a bit of a brain spin. And then you could go a square. Pivot points. Man's got to know his limitation. And the science of the tap. There you go. All right, so I'll love and leave you. Hey, my name's Chris Quinlan. This is Melbourne Musos Facebook Live with, where is it now?
2019 BC.
Yes, that's what it is. 2019.
2019 BC.
Pre-COVID. Everyone hates that joke. And what it is I'll have this up for you tomorrow, probably. hope you get something out of it. What it is really being able to get around your drum kit. It doesn't have to be as big as Doris. And what you do is work your angles. Maybe just move one hand at a time. And then you work out a few clues. And my first clue was Billy Cobham back in the day. I've gone, he's doing triangles there, oh my Lord. Have a look at that. All right, I'm out of here. Oh, let's go. Hey. Oh, we're off. Oh my Lord, I hope you enjoyed the show. Oh, where the only law was lust. Oh, ho, ho, ho. I'm lost.
Travel back through time and space to Melbourne Musos, Face Chook Live. To the edge of man's beginning, discover a savage world whose only law was lust. 2019.
Introducing the fabulous Raquel Welch, the sensational star discovery of this or any other year in
2019 BC.
See her as Loana the Fair One, who deserted her tribe and risked her life to follow Tumac of the Rock People. John Richardson as Tumac, as big and strong as the beasts he fought for survival. Nupondi the Wild One, whom no man could resist. See the fascinating, strange, and fearful creatures who roamed and ruled the earth.
2019 BC.
The Brontosaurus, a moving mountain of flesh and bone. The pterodactyl, a flying reptile with giant teeth. The flesh-eating Allosaurus. The Triceratops, a horned dinosaur in battle with the savage Ceratosaurus. You will share the unending thrills and excitement of a world of primitive wonders, of primeval terror and savagery. You will indeed live in another world, in another time, as the centuries fall back to reveal the Earth.
2019 BC.
Introducing the fabulous Raquel Welch as Loana the Fair One. John Richardson as Tumac.
'19 BC. Coming to you tonight at 6 p.m. on Melbourne Musos, Face Chook Live. 2019 BC.
Man's got to know his limitations.